Hello and welcome to Cinema Crusaders, that show where we look at movies that are 10 years old or older, and then we look at them and we decide how well they still hold up, whether they still have artistic and cinematic merit. And overall, is it worth revisiting? Is it something that we should be looking into?
Mhm.
And for today, we've decided to look at a David Fincher film, 1997's The Game. And Mike kind of recommended this one, and I was kind of curious about it. So yeah, we did this one look, and here he is now. Well, what do you have to say for your film, Mike?
I really like this movie. Particularly, I like the twist at the end
Hmm.
because you are so not expecting that. Like you're told from the beginning, this is what it is. But through all of the crap he goes through, you
Yeah,
forget all about that, and then you're like, "Oh, it was. You mean it? Oh."
I I thought it was a possibility. I mean, I did kind of keep some of that stuff in mind. I was more thinking, okay, we're this is like the most David Cronenberg movie not directed by David Cronenberg. It is a total mind screw the whole way through. And it's like the game is being played on the audience as well as it is on Michael Douglas. So it's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
I mean, just imagine though. I mean, like the things they did to really make you believe that stuff. I mean, like, imagine the things you might think are possible from an organization that can take control of your television.
Yeah. Well, the thing that kind of got me thinking that there was at least some of that to it was, I would say certainly around the time when the taxi cab goes flying into the water,
Uh-huh.
and like,
Uh-huh.
aha, and I was thinking, whoops, that was
Yeah.
exactly Michael Douglas's reaction to this was whoops.
Right.
So
I
for
didn't
those who
put
have
that
not.
together with the picture that he showed them and that going
Yep.
over the edge. I didn't put that together. That's
Oh yeah, the stuff
nice
that
catch.
that he was hinting at with they're actually appeared in the movie. So all
Hmm.
that was just really brilliant foreshadowing.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, just to kind of give a little bit of a background for those who haven't seen this movie, the game deals with Gordon Gecko, aka Nicholas Van Orton,
Yeah.
who is an investment banker, who is just like really kind of stiff, kind of out of touch with everybody, and just basically like overworked, and just like all his entire life is work. And this was his brother's, Sean Penn's, intervention, essentially, to kind of get him out of this. And but then you kind of feel like, okay, there's a little bit of a total recall type of shift where, yeah, these weird things start happening, and they don't necessarily give you any warning for it happening. It's just this, you're stuck in this. And here he is kind of reacting to all of this stuff, with this movie not really giving you a chance to sit and really think about what's happening. He is just reacting to this until he realizes, oh yeah, all of this really was a game.
Yeah, yeah. Did I just I mean this movie, in my opinion, is just brilliant.
Mhm.
Honestly, uh I mean, when I first saw this, I had no idea what was happening at all. But
Mm.
like, I mean, like I just couldn't wrap my head around an organization that could do some of the things that they
Yeah.
were in. And even at the end, when you realize that it's a game, the amount of people that are involved in this thing, the scope is just like mind blowing.
Yeah,
Like
and
at the
how
end, when his brother's going over the bill, and he's like, "Yeah, you help me." I mean, geez, this is pretty big. You're like, I can imagine with the like you must have 100,000 people working on this.
I'm like, Sean Penn must have really fixed his life up really, really well if he's able to pay that bill off.
Right, right. Well, they had the wealthy father.
Yeah, the wealthy father, that is true. And we know that how much money that Nikki has in the bank. So it's like, yeah, I could buy that.
You know what's interesting is that Michael, at the very beginning they show the home video footage, and there's the
Yeah.
scene of it, the bits with his father and whatnot, and then you even get to see his father actually jump off the roof and everything. Michael Douglas didn't get to see that before he acted out the movie.
That actually kind of worked out in this movie's favor.
Well, in his opinion, it completely foreshadows just how dark his character is going to get in that home movie, and the correlations with his father there. But I mean, no, imagine as an actor not getting that, not like, clearly he read the script and that wasn't in there. Otherwise, it would have said so, and he would have known it was there. He had to act out that whole thing without knowing that foreshadowing was there, and it still delivered.
I think Fincher seemed like he was being really, really careful with how much the cast knew, how much they didn't know, how much he wanted to get out, how much, and how much didn't. Parceling information to all the actors so that they only had what they needed to get the scene he wanted.
Right. Here's a little bit for you. David Fincher originally planned to make the game before 7. But once
I believe that, but go on.
But once Brad Pitt became available for 7, Fincher actually shelved this movie and did 7.
Yeah, this kind of feels like something he had in mind before 7. Because 7 feels like more of his masterwork, and this one looked like it was that step right before it.
And you totally get, like, Brad Pitt had to be the guy who played that role. He just had to be.
Yeah.
So I mean, when that opportunity opens up, I totally get. You know what? We'll just put this right on over here.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael Douglas, you can wait a little bit. Gordon Gekko can wait.
Apparently, and check this out. Speaking of the cast, apparently in the original script, the Jodie Foster was supposed to play Michael Douglas's sibling. It was supposed to be his sister. And she actually decided, well, no, actually, I think I should be his daughter instead. And this actually kind of weirded out Michael Douglas and Fincher on account of, because there was only 18 years difference. I'm not sure why that matters. I know a lot of 18-year-olds that are, shall we say, active. But
I was going to say, I could actually buy that. Yeah, that could have worked.
But for some reason, Michael Douglas and Foster are actually friends, and in his opinion, it was weird because there was only 18 years difference. I don't get that, but that was the reason that got slipped. And she actually ended up suing. Despite her production company working on the film, she actually ended up suing them over losing this role to Sean Penn.
Weird. Although I think I buy Sean Penn doing this a lot more, because it seems like the kind of prank that a kid brother would play on the older, overworked, brother that he's trying to give an intervention to. I don't necessarily. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to get that. Like, I actually posted on Twitter on this, it seems like whoever wrote this script had been watching The Simpsons at the time, because I just keep going back to the prank phone calls that Bart made to Moe's Diner, which was, there's Seymour Butts there.
According to what I looked up, let's see. Conrad's use of the pseudonym Seymour Butts and Nicholas's response of Under the Bleachers by Seymour Butts is a reference to a joke series, A Book Never Written, featured in Boy's Life, the official magazine of the Boy Scouts of America.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. But so I guess Matt Groening kind of read the same book.
Right?
I'm okay with that. That's absolutely fine.
But I gotta ask you, what are your thoughts on this movie? Because I'm dying to see how you reacted seeing this for the first time. Because this is one of those movies I wish I could see again for the first time.
It's definitely a mind screw, and it's one of those where I'm just kind of looking for the pieces, putting it together, and looking a little bit for, okay, what is it? Is it really like the game they were showing in the beginning? And all of this stuff is just him kind of running through the motions. Is this something like Total Recall? Is it something else? What are how in the world are they, pulling all of these cons and these scans and, and all of these double blinds that they keep pulling in this movie? I'd have to say some of it is probably not plausible, but you know what? The tension is so good and they do such a good job of messing with your head. I don't care. I don't necessarily care. The execution was just that convincing to me. Michael Douglas sold it that convincingly as an actor. And I was entertained by it. And it was just, very well executed.
Definitely. I really like the journey that it went on. Like I said, like I mentioned before, you don't really expect the ending. Like while it's planted, it's totally earned the ending. You don't expect it. You're just like, okay, Murphy has full on attacked this guy with his entire army, and the law is coming down. But
this is where I was having the Total Recall flashback, because I was thinking of the moment where like Arnold is like running all throughout, running away from the villains basically. Okay. And he runs into Sharon Stone in the bedroom and she's like, oh yeah, really me, this is an intervention. You're in recall right now. Right. And it's like, if it were real, if that had been actually real, or if we knew that was real, that is what the game is. The whole thing was like his vacation in his head.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay, yeah. So, like people playing a part, trying to convince him a reality is true. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
There's a lot of really good like false reality, fake ups with all of this. And it's just like, okay, which side is playing what? It's just it's a WTF movie for me.
You touched a bit on this, and I said a little bit about it before, but I think that, how do I say this? They convince you that the people running the game are literally capable of anything. Things that don't seem possible are happening.
Yeah.
That don't make sense. I mean, literally imagine you're sitting there watching a program with a guy you watch at every single night, and suddenly he starts talking to you.
Sure. That was really, really messed up. I don't even know how they managed that.
Right? I mean, you're when somebody's able to do these things, what it does is it makes your mind think, well, if they're capable of that, what can't they do? And that just drives the madness.
And I'm going to even put a step further. It's like, keep in mind, they were doing this in 97. This was made in 1997. Some of this stuff you could do today. You absolutely could do deep fakes of like a guy, giving a newscast and then talking to you and about, things that and make it actually feel like he's talking to you. You could do that today. And it's like the cameras, absolutely you can do that today. Especially with Wi-Fi, absolutely, totally would be possible to do all that. In 97, before the internet became really as defined as it is today, without all the surveillance stuff we have today, a lot harder.
Yeah, it just, I mean, that's what it did to me anyway. I guess that's why I'm kind of harping on that. When I saw that, it made me question, well, what you start to feel it. The movie makes you feel the paranoia Douglas is feeling.
Yes. And I will say there is a really good suspense / horror flavor to a fair chunk of the movie. Michael Douglas going into the house and then suddenly it goes from being dark to being this weird blue. Everything is painted over. And then they start playing Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit.
Right.
That is messed up. That was really, really well played, and it was messed up.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. I mean, you go home, your home is where most people feel safe.
Yeah.
That is their safe space, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when you go home and find your entire home that violated, like
Yeah, and vandalized and like, oh yeah, you get graffiti on the walls, like yeah, pretty boy and all that.
yeah, yeah, and it was totally it was totally 70s with the Right Rabbit song and the black light, everything, and the
Mhm. Nothing says reality bending mayhem like White Rabbit. Like
right,
that song is just like the anthem for that. And there was a reason why they used that in the Matrix, the last Matrix film.
right, for sure. Let me see something here.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Mhm.
Despite its success in the box office and cult following, David Fincher has admitted in interviews that he is not proud of the film. He has explained that
Okay.
he was fighting with executives at Polygram Entertainment, which was the distributor of the film, and
Mhm.
that he agreed with his wife, looks like Sean Chaffin, who produced the film,
Mhm.
that he never should
Mhm.
have made the film, citing that they couldn't get the third act, and it was his fault because he
Mhm.
says it was my fault because I thought if you could just keep your foot on the throttle, it would be liberating and funny. But ultimately, Fincher
Mhm.
regrets having made this movie.
I can kind of see why, and I see a little bit of what he's saying structurally.
Well,
I mean,
explain it to me because I don't get it.
well, it seems to me like he was just keeping things going, building tension, building the pace of things until the very end. And maybe he kind of felt like he struggled to come up with an ending that was satisfying to him. I can kind of see where it feels a little disjointed in the way it's presented at the very end. But I think he's probably being a little harder on himself than he deserves. I think it still holds up together pretty well. But I can see where if you are a perfectionist like David Fincher and you're trying to make like every film like seven, and that your standard, you're going to look at this and say, yeah, I came a little short. I can absolutely understand that. I think he's wrong. I think this movie still holds together really well, and it is definitely deserving of being in his filmography. But I can see why he wouldn't be satisfied with it because the greats aren't satisfied with
I don't remember exactly when it came out, but Fincher did Alien 3 as well.
it. He
And
did,
he
yeah,
had there were
yeah,
all kinds of issues with executives and like different writers,
mm-hmm.
and like, this is what we're gonna do, we're gonna build an entire set, we're gonna spend months on this and millions of dollars, then we're gonna wipe all that away, we're gonna do
Yeah,
an entirely different script. And that's why Alien 3 ended up the way it is. And I from the way that Fincher describes that, and in what I read there, I get the impression there was some level of that, and this was around the same time.
mm-hmm.
So I get this. There was a level of that going on with this movie, but what it makes me
Yeah.
wonder is, what ending did he have in mind? I mean, what was he thinking?
That is a good question. I will say also that there were issues with Seven as well with the ending, and
Hmm.
the only reason why we saw the ending that they intended that Fincher intended is because Pitt's contract was written in a way where, yeah, we are holding on to this ending,
Yep.
and yeah, and I'm like, that is the most brilliant thing that I've ever seen an actor do. Is put we stipulate, we're going to film the ending that is in my contract. Um,
Honestly, I mean, Pitt is a big name. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
it takes a certain level of guts to put
Mhm.
your entire participation in the film on the line like that.
I think he really believed in that ending, and he was absolutely right.
He was. I'm just I don't know another story where an actor did that to secure an ending, so that it would
Mhm.
the movie would have a certain tone to it. I don't
I
know
can't
another
think of one
story.
either.
Yeah.
The only time I can think of where that's happened. And it's always around Fincher that this stuff happens. And so yeah, that apparently like this was, or particularly around the 90s, this was par for the course with Fincher. I have a feeling he probably has more freedom now.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Mhm.
I mean, like after what he went through on Alien 3, and it sounds like he went through on the game, and you said there
Yeah.
was problems on 7 too. I mean, that
Yep.
if
They were
that
trying to
were
get him to
me,
change it because the censors were thought that the ending was too intense. And yeah, and Fincher and Pitt like, yeah, that ain't happening. We're keeping our ending. That's why
it,
it's great.
it is stories like this that
Mhm.
make me absolutely positive that no matter how much I love movies, I just
Mhm.
straight love movies. Um, I don't ever want to be involved in the business. What happened to David Fincher in the
Yeah.
latter 90s would break my heart. It
Mhm.
would I couldn't work in an industry after that happened to me.
Yeah. And yeah, and he had to deal with that a bunch of times. But I mean, it's like, yeah, but Alien 3 really was the worst he ever had to deal with. It was never that bad again. But I mean, Fincher at that point was experienced, and I think he kind of learned from that. And I think this is kind of wild. You see a lot more of his vision in his later films.
Speculate though. What do you think might have how they might have wrapped that up? Do you think maybe he wanted to go totally dark with it, like with 7, like have a really dark ending? So I mean, his life really
Mm,
does go to crap, and they really did take all his money. Or
I
I
get a
mean,
feeling it would have been darker because I kind of feel like, yeah, they wrapped it up in a very neat Hollywood bow, didn't they, with this movie? That is atypical for Fincher.
I don't.
Um,
Oh, like I said, I kind of thought that the ending
I don't know if they
felt,
would have gone that dark, but yeah, darker for sure.
yeah.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to.
Hmm.
I'm guessing for an ending to be that much darker, then there had to be stuff different in the first and second act to set it up, because the ending as is feels very earned in how it's supposed to be.
I think it does come together. I mean, I don't know what he was looking for. I mean, I just feel like for him, the nagging problems in his head were things that only bothered him, and but they were enough to bother him.
I can certainly relate to that. I have
Yeah.
certainly looked on past projects that I've worked on and had
Hmm.
my share of complaints about them, and even
Yeah.
regretted some of them. So
It's the dissatisfaction of being a great director. I mean, and just being at that level. I completely get it. I don't agree, but I completely get it.
well, I think honestly, I mean, if you especially this coming off of 7, I
Yeah.
mean that was a hit movie. That was quality stuff right there. And
Yeah. Legendary.
coming off of that onto something that I like, where 7 is one of those movies like, okay, where do we go from here? I mean, I think
Yeah.
we're up here right now. I don't That kind of seems to be a ceiling there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, but at the very least, you kind of think, yeah, he peaked too early. I don't think he necessarily did. He did a lot of really good movies even after that, but yeah,
I'm just trying to imagine myself in the moment, coming off of 7 and then working on a project I felt didn't quite live up to what I was capable of.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But I love
well,
this movie. I don't even if he regrets it, I mean, I'm sorry he feels that way, but I think this
yeah,
movie is awesome, and it is one of my favorite character arcs. I mean, Douglas is flat out cold. I mean,
yes.
at the beginning, and
I
actually,
was thinking like he's Jordan Gecko, which made me think, you know what? He's going to have the rug pulled out from under him. That was my thought in the beginning of
right?
the movie. That's exactly what happens.
That's
You're
exactly
not going to
what
be
happened. Yeah.
surprised by that. But the journey you have with him, doesn't outweigh the lack of surprise. It really doesn't.
Also, and this is just purely a writer's appreciation. I really like how at this point up until a certain point in the movie, like when you're at the girl's house, you think that he just has all this money in the bank. You are under the impression that he is just a billionaire.
Yep.
Then you find out once he realizes that they took the money, suddenly with just a simple couple of lines, we're talking about pensions, payrolls. We're talking. I mean, he explained the weight of what had just happened in a matter of a sentence or two, and you felt the weight. And I just, as a writer,
Yes.
I appreciated that delivery.
The other thing is like already at that point he's been through a lot of crap, and you can see him already starting to change. And at that point, that's where you really start to feel like, okay, he's actually starting to think of other people. He's
Right.
not in his own world for once. He's not
That's a nice
being
catch.
like that out of touch businessman that he's been from the beginning. He's actually starting to think, okay, not only did I lose everything that mattered to me, I failed all of these people that were counting on me,
Yeah.
and that hits him on a very deep level in the background, and you can definitely see that in Michael Douglas's performance.
Interesting. Just from a psychological level, if you think about it, he was completely enveloped in his work. If you
Yep.
were going to start a crack, that's
Mhm.
where it needed to start.
Yeah. Responsibility hit him in the duty sack. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. And that's kind of where everything fell. And then, on top of that, him having to find a way to survive and make that trip, cross country all by himself with no money and no resources. Damn.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a prank to pull on your brother.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He absolutely needed it, but I get it. It was rough.
I think it was harsh. It was harsh, but to get the experience of actually losing everything, coming down to you have nothing. You don't even have 10 cents to your name. You have to sell your watch to buy some food and get on a crappy bus to take you halfway to where you're going. It's it. I mean, he once that thing in Mexico happened, when you'll notice that he got out of a casket, a place of a dead man, rose up out of there, a new man in a new situation. And it was from that point the new person started walking. Oh, it looks like you froze up.
All right.
There you are.
Yeah, sorry about that. My internet cut out for a minute. What were you about to say?
I was talking about how it was interesting that the thing in Mexico started with him getting out of a casket, the place of a dead man.
Yeah.
And from there on, from that point on, he had lost literally everything that he had. He had nothing, not even all the money that he held so dearly. He had nothing. And even then, you notice by the time he got back to his house, he had walked miles to get there. This was the lowest point he could get to.
Yeah. And I really do feel like this is why Michael Douglas was chosen, because it's like you think of Gordon Gekko in Wall Street when you see him as an investment banker. That is what you're seeing. And this movie absolutely flips the script on that. With this growth arc, with all of the stuff he's being put through. So he becomes a little bit closer, I would say, like towards the end, not necessarily to the guy from Falling Down, although he comes close to that at points. But like other kinds of characters that he's played that are a lot more human. And I think that, Douglas actually pulled this off really, really brilliantly.
You know what occurred to me just now? And I don't know if you'll even get this, as you're not quite the horror fan that I am.
Yeah.
But the game is essentially a much nicer way of playing one of John Kramer's games.
Yes.
He is trying to take somebody who fundamentally needs to change as a person, and he is
Yeah.
when they survive in one of those games, they have gone through something physical. Like it has cost them blood, it has cost them flesh. They are barely surviving and coming out on the other end. The game is essentially the same thing, just less violent.
It's a little bit of that, and I would say a little bit of the trickster from Supernatural. Have you gotten into Tall Tales yet?
No.
Okay. Watch that one. It's on season 2. It's
Okay.
one of I think I want to say it's like 15 or 16. And a lot of that really is based on a trickster god that is playing tricks on people who are kind of high and mighty and need to be brought low. The kind of person that Michael Douglas is playing in this movie.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, and usually most of the time it's not lethal with him too. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's really not. Especially when he's trying to mess with Sam and Dean for those reasons.
Right.
So
I just
yeah,
noticed
it's
the
a
same
little bit
kind
of
of change happens.
yes.
At the end of one of Kramer's games, at the end of the game, that same kind of eye-opening, world rearranging change happens in both cases.
Yeah. So these are tricks played on people that kind of deserve it, getting their just desserts. That whole angle, from somebody with a really kind of weird way of looking at the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Imagine
trying to start a company like this.
Yeah.
Imagine pitching this to the Shark Tank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is what we want to do. We want to totally destroy somebody's lives, but we're just pretending.
and then put it back together once it's all done. Yeah. Are there any other performances you want to talk about? Because I would say Douglas and Penn are probably like the main ones.
Yeah, no, those are really the two standout performances. But honestly, I almost want to give, if I had to choose who did the better acting between Sean Penn and Michael Douglas in that film, I got to give it to Penn.
Yeah.
His like the whole thing when he found the keys in his glove box, that whole bit, and then the argument they had on the stairs, that scene was Sean Penn acting at peak, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the fact that you can actually look back at it and say, yeah, he's playing this role. And like he's playing being paranoid to kind of mess with him. And it's like, yeah, Gordon Gekko's brother is the guy from Fast Times on Richmond High. And he's just absolutely being punked and pranked by an expert.
Yeah. I really thought they did the emotional relationship there, the broken family and the whole thing. Yeah. The bit with Douglas and his father, that whole pattern, even with the note that he found, like my father before me, you know what I mean? That was so heavy for me. I don't know if this hit everybody else like that, but the whole thing of I was destined to fall into this pattern of self-destruction, and now I'm just getting my just desserts. This was meant to happen to me all along. I mean, just
yeah, and I will like that kind of hit me when Michael Douglas was talking to the housekeeper lady.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, talking about his father, and it's like, yeah, was I much like him? And she was like, no, not really. And I'm like, no, what you were describing was a lot like him, particularly the overworking part. And we actually see a little bit of leaning towards the end. And I get the feeling like that's part of the arc that he has that he's struggling with. He's trying not to become his father.
Let me throw this at you and see if this changes things.
Sure.
When Michael Douglas thinks that he has shot his brother, his brother is dead, he's gone through all this crap, he still doesn't know this is a game. Even if he does at this point, he's just kind of in shock right now. He looks at the side of the building and decides, you know what? I think when he saw the edge of the building, he remembered that, just like my father before me. He remembered how his dad died, and he just walked into that like he was accepting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a messed up ending for sure, and it's like, yeah, if I will say, like, if Penn knew the entire time that all of this was a prank, I never want to be pranked by that guy.
Right?
Because he is like a mofo. Magnificent Bastard level planning with, like, for that yeah. Oh, and by the way, and I know you mentioned this in the chat, but I kind of want to make sure everybody else knows it. So, so all of us finding out, like, how, talking about how, like, all the dark history of his father and all of that. The guy who plays Michael Douglas and Sean Penn's father in this movie is Charles Martinet, aka Mario, the guy who played Super Mario for like years and years. That's his dad.
So just before he jumps off the roof, picture, I'm a Mario.
Well, if Mario had actually jumped off of that, he would, be able to double jump up there. But
right.
The other side, you'd be fine. Yeah.
I guess that was
and your kids, Mario and Luigi. There you go. So, yeah. Is there anything else? Oh, yeah. Do we want to talk about the effects cinematography?
Let me see.
Because I will say, like, Fincher's cinematic style is all over this movie. I mean, there's just a way that he composes shots, particularly in very claustrophobic, dark shots.
Yeah,
that, I mean, just absolutely works. And a lot of the horror is in the framing of the shots and the visuals. Again, the moment with the white rabbit and the blue walls and all the electric neon blue stuff. Just, I mean, that's just really classic Fincher.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that that was definitely a cool scene. I guess there was nothing really cinematically that jumped out at me, but I mean, there was certainly nothing wrong with it. I can say that much. I thought the camera work did its job just fine. Just nothing really to write home about, I guess, jumped out at me there.
Can we say, okay, so we'll say it was solid for a Fincher film?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that'll work. That's absolutely fair.
No, it was definitely solid. It did its job. I had no complaints with the camera work or the special effects or anything. I just, nothing really jumped out at me as like, oh wow, I can't believe they did that or something like that.
The only other thing I will say is I think they made really good use of the locations, and I feel like some of them are probably locations I've seen before in other movies, but yet it doesn't feel that way.
Right. I like that it took place in one of my favorite cities on earth is San Francisco, and I really appreciated that it was there. One of these days, I actually want to live there.
That may be why. Now that I didn't even think about that. That's probably why. Yeah. Because how many movies have been filmed in San Francisco? How many films have been, taking place there?
Right.
So yeah, that's probably why some of the sets look familiar. Yeah, that would explain it.
Plus, if I lived in San Francisco, I would be there when Starfleet Academy was formed.
Yeah, absolutely. and I would be driving there in the bullet car.
Nice.
Yeah.
One more thing I had in my notes here that was interesting. Apparently, there is an alternate ending in the Criterion Laserdisc and the special edition DVD.
Oh my God. Maybe it's on YouTube. Worth checking.
And in this alternate ending, Nicholas Van Orton comes out of the hotel, declines a taxi, and just walks away. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah, that doesn't really click to me, but
it doesn't at all.
The
only way I can think of that scene might work is if the whole thing with him falling into the safety thing, and it all just being part of the game. That the only way that ending makes sense to me is if this was after he thought he had killed his brother or something like that. I mean, otherwise,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It seems like a non sequitur.
Yeah. Something just feels off about it, and I begin to see where he was struggling. But yeah, the ending they came up with at least satisfies on a reasonable level.
Well, honestly, if there isn't that growth in the character,
Yeah,
it makes the movie feel pointless. There has to be a
yeah,
journey.
yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah, that's why I really didn't have a problem with it, because I kind of felt like, yeah, ultimately this has to be about Michael Douglas's character, embracing other people, like getting out of his shell, stop looking at everything about being about his work, take some time for himself once in a while, all of those things that he wasn't doing at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Okay.
Let me think if there was anything else.
Yeah, if you got any other notes, and sure.
I don't think so. I don't think so. That's all my notes, and I think that's about what I have to say about it.
I don't really have anything else either, unless you want to get to final thoughts right away.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do the final thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I would say like this is a really good film. I can kind of see where it's not on the level of Seven. What is? I mean, that's an unrealistic standard,
right?
Even for Fincher, I think to say we expect everything to be as good as Seven. But I mean, it is still one of the defining movies of his career, I would say. After that,
Nice.
And I would say, like, Michael Douglas is excellent in it. I mean, he holds the whole movie. He is absolutely, holding solid this movie. And a lot of it is his charisma. Even you got a charismatic guy like Douglas, he owns every shot he's in. And Fincher knew that, and he knows what actors to use to make everything look visual. The visual language of Fincher, I think, really, really works in this movie. But at the same time, I will say, for me, this movie is definitely one of those WTF out of 10 movies. The last time I did that was with David Cronenberg's Existence. I think this movie is another WTF out of 10.
Well, I watched that episode where you guys covered that, actually. And just from what you said here, it sounds like you have a little bit more of a grasp on the game than you did with Existence.
Definitely, yes. I would say,
yeah.
There's definitely more of a coherent logic going by that, but it's like at the same time they're still doing a lot of mind screw stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A lot of reality bending kind of weird shit that you can't explain with the stuff that they give you.
I guess one of the things I love about this movie, and I said this before, is that and maybe this is just my experience. I guess I can't say everybody would do it this way, but I felt the paranoia that Michael Douglas was feeling. I was literally like, oh my God, like it could literally be anyone, anywhere. I mean, there isn't somewhere I can go, especially after he's gone to his home and that happens. I mean, yeah, that I was really impressed by that. I mean, you can see someone be paranoid in a film, but for the writing and the acting to make you feel paranoid while you're watching it, that I thought was talented.
Okay, fully fair. Yeah. So, what are you giving this movie?
Well, honestly, I don't see, unless like thrillers are just not your thing. I don't see how someone could watch this and not like it. But I mean, that it is a genuinely good film. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any issues with it. I love the movie. I've seen it many times. I don't know. I have to give it a 10. I mean, I got no problems with the movie. I probably watched it like 15 times.
I will say one thing. Like there was one time when I was starting to nitpick a little bit, and then the movie answered the nitpick like in the next minute.
Oh, what was that?
I was impressed. I was impressed with that. That was the whole thing where like with the after the elevator where she had said, yeah, I don't want to go up because I'm not wearing underwear. And then
Right.
immediately in the chase later, she went up there before Douglas did, up on the building. And Michael Douglas, like immediately after I thought of that, Michael Douglas was like, called her out for the same thing. So it's like, okay, you knew what you were doing, you planned for it. Okay,
Right.
objection withdrawn. I will do that. I will do that when films actually answer those points.
Nice. Yeah, those are very cool moments.
All right, so yeah, I don't know that I would give it a 10, but I mean, if I still think WTF is kind of where I am. But if it were like a conventional numbering, it would be like at least like 9.3, 9.4, somewhere in there.
I would mark it lower.
I feel like
if
a
I
7.
could
Like
find,
7 is a 10. I'm sorry.
well, okay. If we're going, if 7 is the 10 marker, that is the standard we're going with, I might put it down a little closer to your score. Okay, but I'm more I guess my 10 score was judging it based upon its own merits.
Yeah. I'm always very, very careful about giving out 10s just because it's like I want every film that gets it to feel like it was earned.
Totally.
But I realize that's me. If you feel like it was a 10 experience for you, then that's fair. Like I have no problem with that.
I to be fair, I tend to watch movies with the intention of enjoying it, whereas a lot of people tend to watch movies with the intention of seeing what's wrong with it. And so I don't. I guess I feel like maybe my opinion might be a little skewed more towards the positive than normal, I suppose.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not necessarily looking for things to find wrong with it. That's just that my writer brain works in such a way that I can't help but find them.
Oh, totally.
So that's where a lot of it is for me. But I kind of realize, like, I'm not everybody is like looking to, like take things apart like a Switch watch. So I get it.
Right.
All right. Okay. Do we want to add anything else before we go? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, next week we are going to be doing Gangs of
By Scorn.
I lost that. What did you say?
By Scorn is what I was saying.
By Scorn. Oh, yes. By Scorn. But next week, I am rather excited about this as I am Irish. We are going to be diving into Gangs of New York, which is going to be very cool.
I am not Irish at all. Like my ancestry is like German, Scots on one side and like Spanish, French on the other, and Basque. So it's like nowhere is there any Irish in there that I know of.
Well,
but I will get into it. I will get into it. I do have like various like extended family that are, but I am not.
I don't think you necessarily need to be Irish to appreciate the movie. I mean, just the world of the 5 points during that time is a very interesting place.
I will say I'm just mainly interested in Daniel Day-Lewis as Bill Cutting in this movie because every clip I've seen of him in it, he is a charismatic force of nature, and I just want to see like what he does in this movie.
Also, as far as Scorn goes, it is available. It is free to read on Kindle Unlimited, $1.99 on Kindle, and you can get paperback and hardcover editions. It's all on Amazon.
Very cool. So I think we will go ahead and take us out. And next time, enjoy some movies, and we will be back here next week for St. Patrick's Day with Gangs of New York. Until then, see you next time. No.